At a summer camp, a number of kids and camp staff alike turn up dead. There's a killer among them. Only, it's who you'd least suspect. Or it's exactly who you'd suspect. Hello and welcome back to Fatal Film, a watch-along horror movie video series where every 2 weeks I give you guys a horror movie and then we sit down and we talk about it. This week we watched the 1983 cult classic Sleepaway Camp. Sleepaway Camp. You know, this movie absolutely was riding the wave of success and popularity of Friday the 13th, almost shamelessly stealing like so many beats from that movie. It's crazy. You got the teenage kids at the summer camp, you got the point of view shots from the killer, you don't know who the killer is until the very end of the film, and then it ends on a big shocker. Like, you know, it definitely borrows a lot from Friday the 13th, and it's not as successful as that film. This is like the poor man's Friday the 13th. This movie has one thing going for it that I will admit is very, very good, and we'll get there in a bit. First, let's just dive into the film. The movie starts off with this tragic boat accident with a father and his 2 kids, and you know, these 2 dumbass teenagers driving this motorboat who run over this poor family. God damn. And it was totally their fault. They weren't paying attention. Like, how the fuck did this even happen? It was such a frustrating scene. Man, she got these people killed. That blood is on her hands, god damn it. She's the real villain of this film, if you really think about it. I mean, this is what puts into motion all of the events of the film. It's all her, man. And then we fast forward to a mother sending her 2 kids off to summer camp, her son Ricky, and then her basically adopted daughter Angela, who eventually we find out is the lone survivor of the boat accident from the beginning of the movie. Her and Ricky are actually cousins, but they're being raised together. And Ricky's mother, goddamn, she is something else. She is something crazy. Even the way she talks, listen to this bitch.
Oh, I remember what it is. I knew I wouldn't forget. I just kept reminding myself. In fact, I tied a string around my finger so I wouldn't forget.
Everything she says is like that, man. Every line of dialogue, I'm just like, what? This lady's just crazy. So Ricky and Angela, they arrive at the summer camp, you know, along with the rest of the kids. They're all running towards their bunks and shit. And Ricky and Angela, they couldn't be more different. You know, Ricky's just like a normal, average kid. You know, he's been to this summer camp before. He's got friends. His best friend Paul is also at the summer camp with him. But Angela's like, she's so quiet. She's very shy, to the point where it's kind of obnoxious. Someone will literally be talking to her, and she'll just blank stare at them for like so long. She won't say anything. She doesn't eat anything. It's crazy. I was like, this chick is nuts. And so sure enough, she's not exactly popular amongst the rest of the campers, and she kind of becomes somewhat of a victim. You know, everyone's kind of bullying her and giving her shit all the time. Ricky, to his credit, does his best to kind of stick up for her. Once the kids are there and we're at the summer camp, the movie gets really light on plot. Like, not a whole lot of things happen. We really just watch them as they participate in various camp activities. But it's kind of a way to get you introduced to the cast. You know, there's like this baseball scene that goes on for way too long. And I guess, you know, we're introduced to Billy throughout this scene, who's kind of like the camp bully, and him and Ricky are kind of rivals and they go at it all the time. But man, the scene, it definitely drags, goes on for way too long. You can tell they're really working to fill that feature-length film runtime. And can we talk about Billy's outfits here? Like, look at this dude, my dude. That's his baseball attire. God damn. And we're introduced to the other campers, like Paul, who's Ricky's friend, and who actually strikes up kind of like a relationship with Angela. Well, I mean, he does his best. It's kind of one way, but Angela kind of first opens up to Paul. It's kind of the first time we see her talk, the first time we see her interact really with anyone. And then there's Judy, who's kind of like the camp bitch. And she's so obnoxious, she's so annoying, and she's super jealous of Angela for all of the attention that she's getting from Paul. For whatever fucking reason, she's not even interested in Paul. She doesn't care. She just doesn't like that another girl besides her is getting attention. And then there's the camp staff and counselors who are all just awful. I think the only likable one, the only redeemable one is, I don't even remember his name. It's the dude with the big muscles. Look at his outfits. They're the best. There's the chef, who's legitimately a full-on pedophile. It's messed up. It's so messed up. He's like watching the kids get off the buses when they're first arriving. You know, he's licking his lips. Just as messed up as like nobody calls him on it. Like all the kitchen staff, like he's making all these really messed up remarks, and they're just laughing, shaking their heads. It's like, what? And then there's the camp owner, Mel, who's kind of a creep in his own right, kind of a scumbag. The only thing he cares about is, if anything bad happens, is how's it going to reflect on the camp? Are people going to send their kids here after there's been a death at the camp? So the chef is the first one to get killed. Thank God, this dude was such a creep. He gets like this gigantic pot of boiling water dumped on him. It's kind of a hilarious scene. It's like, what? I'm pretty sure the whole thing was avoidable on his end, but he kind of got what was coming to him because he was trying to make a move on Angela. It's so messed up.
I think I got something you're gonna like real good.
He had her in the walk-in fridge and he was legit about to whip it out, but thank God Ricky came in to save the day and kind of stop him. And then Billy gets killed while he's taking a shit because someone drops a fucking beehive into the stall that he was in. This death as well was also super avoidable. It's like, god damn, just like crawl under the stall or something. And those bees made like super short work of him. He got messed up by them so quickly. Then Judy got killed in her cabin by getting smothered with her pillow while getting burned with a curling iron. We don't know where she got burned with her curling iron. I don't even want to think about it. And the common thread between all of the kills and the deaths that were happening at the camp is that they all happened to somebody who was giving Angela a hard time. So this led Mel, the camp owner, to not suspect Angela, but to suspect Ricky, because Angela, she's too timid, it couldn't have been her. And Mel gets pushed over the edge once one of his counselors, Meg, gets killed while she was in the shower. Mel and Meg, they had like this really strange relationship. Like Meg was a camp counselor, she was young, she was like a teenager. And Mel is this gross old dude, and they had like a thing going on. They were gonna have like a date. Basically Mel was pissed because he got cock blocked almost.
9:30.
You got it. See you then.
So Mel, now distraught by the death of Meg, he's convinced that it's Ricky. He doesn't suspect anybody else. So he goes after Ricky. Meg! And he like attacks him, and he beats the shit out of him. And this is at like the very end of the film. The camp is now in lockdown. There's like one lone police officer on the site. And before, all of the deaths were connected to Angela in some way. But then shit just gets dialed up to 11 because this whole group of campers, these like younger campers, get killed and butchered with a hatchet while in their sleeping bags. It's like super shocking. Like at this point, everyone who's been killed in the film kind of did something to antagonize Angela, but the kids in the sleeping bags, that was just completely out of left field. She's just legit crazy. And yes, I'm saying Angela was the killer because it was pretty obvious the entire length of the film that Angela was the killer. I don't even know why they try to hide it. Like they shoot it in point of view and stuff like that, and they try to keep you guessing, but it's like, what? It's Angela. And then there's the big twist reveal at the end of the film. The remaining camp counselors are out searching the rest of the grounds for the remaining kids, Angela included, and they find her and Paul naked down by the water. But Angela's holding Paul's severed head. She's naked and she has a penis. She's a dude. Angela's a he. And this is how they end the film, with a big shocking reveal. But to me, the shocking part of this scene isn't even the fact that she was a boy. I don't even think that was that big of a deal. I think the most shocking thing is just her face. She's just gone crazy. God damn, what is that face? It's the thing of nightmares. That's the most shocking part of this scene. That's the most shocking part of this film. And honestly, when I said this film had one thing going for it, this is it. This is it. The very ending of the movie. The last shot, the last scene. Like this one thing, this one scene is what this movie is best known for. Honestly, if this movie didn't have this ending, this movie would be like a 2 out of 10. But this one scene absolutely bumps it up a couple scores for me. So that's pretty much it for the plot of the film. There's not really much in terms of plot, except for that one big twist reveal at the end. And how we got there is kind of strange and kind of bizarre. And I don't really see the correlation. Sure, Angela's crazy. She's messed up. How she got that way, they kind of try to hint that, she was kind of scarred and traumatized from things that happened to her in her past. And while yes, I agree that, experiencing that tragic event with the boat accident probably would mess a person up, but they also try to hint that because she had 2 gay dads and that she was raised as a girl, that those are the things that also drove her to be crazy. And I don't really see that connection. I don't really see that correlation. I think that's a really strange way of looking at it. I suppose it's not the only movie that's ever done that. You know, Insidious actually did the same thing with The Bride in Black. The twist being that the Bride in Black was actually a dude who was raised as a girl, except, you know, his mom was crazy abusive and stuff. So that I thought was just a little bit bizarre, a little strange. And, you know, the rest of the movie is just like, the kills were okay. They did practical effects, but absolutely like the poor man's version of Friday the 13th. They didn't have that Tom Savini production value on those special effects. And then just the writing and the dialogue and the acting, the delivery, it's a tough watch. It's not a great film. But I will say the ending, you can't deny the ending. It really does elevate the film. I think it's one of the most shocking scenes in a film I've actually ever seen. I really think that one scene is just super well done, and it's too bad that there weren't any other scenes in the movie that weren't anywhere near as creepy or as compelling. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought of Sleepaway Camp. For next episode of Fatal Film, it's our 20th episode of Fatal Film, which is kind of crazy. We've done almost 20 of these shitty horror movie reviews. It's been a lot of fun. I've actually really enjoyed doing this series. And, you know, for our 20th episode, I can't think of any other film more fitting than Halloween H2O 20 years later. First Sleepaway Camp and now Halloween H2O. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to put everybody through this, but we'll talk about that in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.